you have an election in which the Aam Aadmi Party, which has had this vote drop, despite the fact that it has done extraordinarily good work in Delhi throughout the time. So the question is, how has this happened? There's a possibility that there's been an element of stealing of the election here. Why I say this is that you have got a past history, which is the BJP is trying very hard to explain. And the only explanation I've been able to find is that this has to do with the way the voters lists are prepared. And one possibility that has struck me is that if the voters lists are now being prepared on the basis of Aadhaar cards, a large number of and I'm sure that Aadhaar card is a crucial part of it, large number of migrant voters are not being counted. This is being wise after the event, and also wise with the purpose of justifying a result that's already taken place. Because the alternative, that even the most sacred thing that we have, the fundamental pillar, the base of all our democracy, might be now being regularly and systematically tampered with, is such a terrifying conclusion that nobody wants to come to it willingly, nor do I.
That the Delhi election mandate has been stolen, that's what you're suspecting, and this is a matter of investigation.
Tampered with to the benefit of the BJP. Stolen is a very strong word. Stealing is picking up something and taking it away. Nothing has been taken away. The issue is this huge numbers of people. I think from what they limited, I think it is important for the Aam Aadmi Party to go to its every constituency and talk to people and say, did you go to vote? Did you try to vote? Did you not? Did you succeed? Did you not succeed? And they will then come up with this. It is a hypothesis and no more. It is not an accusation, but it's a strong hypothesis because of the very huge discrepancies in vote that you've seen in the previous two elections. It's a 10-year anomaly.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Delhi's election results were out on 8th of February and it's 11th of February and people are still discussing as to how does one decode the Delhi election results. A lot of it is being blamed on the Aam Aadmi Party, that they lost touch on the ground. In terms of perception, they couldn't work much. But can anyone also discount the role of the Election Commission, given the fact that Arvind Kejriwal and his party, way months back, had pointed out that how the names of the voters were deleted and added randomly. And this is just not on Delhi, but there have been instances in Haryana, there have been instances in Maharashtra, and that is being discussed widely. And which is why today, this evening, I'm raising a question that forget about the failures of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi elections, but was the election mandate in Delhi stolen? What was the role of the Election Commission? Let's find out this, and a very special guest joins us this evening, veteran author, journalist, economist, and advisor to former Prime Minister VP Singh. Prem Shankar Jha joins us this evening. So thank you so much for joining, and it's always a pleasure having you on the program and also listening to your views. I'll begin with your first thoughts on the Delhi election results. What do you really feel when you see the election results, the way it has unfolded before the people?
Well, first, it came as a surprise to me because if you look at the previous two elections, the Aam Aadmi Party's vote has been very steady at 53 to 54%. Now, it has dropped this time by 10 or somewhat more than 10%. Now, in a normal election, this can happen, although it's a rather big drop. It can happen. But here you have an election in which the Aam Aadmi Party, which has had this vote drop, despite the fact that it has done extraordinarily good work in Delhi throughout the time. So the question is, how has this happened? There are in my mind, there are two possibilities, and I think that there's maybe a combination of both. Um, the general impression that that all commentators are giving is Aam Aadmi Party had it coming because they had become, sort of complacent and sort of self-satisfied about themselves. There's also the idea that there was corruption had crept into the party. Many people are saying this, and whether they say it or not, they keep pointing to the liquor scam, and then the third thing is, of course, that four of their leaders, the top four leaders, in fact, have been in jail for various periods of time, stretching from almost 2 years to 3 months. So now all this gives the impression to the average person, I would say more the non-political average middle class, which is not living politics every day. They've got other worries and other concerns and other ambitions. It gives the impression that that this party there is something wrong with this party. Fair enough, but the question here is, sorry, that this apart from that, there is a very big, an important thing. There's a possibility that there has been an element of stealing of the election here. Why I say this is that you have got a past history, which is the BJP is trying very hard to explain. And that past history is this, that in 2019, the Aam Aadmi Party, in 2014, 2015, I beg your pardon, in the Vidhan Sabha election, the Aam Aadmi Party got 54% of the vote. 4 years later, in the what do you call it, Lok Sabha elections, its vote dropped to 18%. 54 to 18 is a drop of 2/3. I have looked at the election results of 5 or 6 major states: Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana, and one other state. And I have found nowhere in any election in the last 25 years a change of vote percent as high as this, anywhere close to it. The largest change in vote percent that I've seen, up or down, is less than 10%. That's only on one occasion. Most of the vote changes have been between 5 and 10%. Now, in this one occasion, you have got a 36% fewer votes for the ruling party in the Lok Sabha election than in the Vidhan Sabha election that took place 4 years earlier. You find, had this been only a one-time shot, one would have said, oh, there can be some explanation. But it happened again in 2019. Sorry, I beg your pardon. In 2019 parliamentary elections, the Aam Aadmi Party got, in 2020 Vidhan Sabha elections, the Aam Aadmi Party again got 53% of the vote. And then after that, its vote again dropped to 24% in the parliamentary election in 2024. So this needs explanation. And the only explanation I've been able to find is that this has to do with the way the voters' lists are prepared. And one possibility that has struck me is that if the voters' lists are now being prepared on the basis of Aadhaar cards, a large number of and I'm sure that Aadhaar card is a crucial part of it, a large number of migrant voters are not being counted, and that earlier this was happening only in the Lok Sabha election. This time it has also happened in the Vidhan Sabha election. And
you are saying, you made an important Mr. Jha, you said that the names of the migrant voters you suspect have been deleted Is that what you're pointed out? And could this be a big reason for elections being rigged?
Well, it's a form of rigging in the sense that you say you change the rules for being allowed to vote. Now,
Yes.
the right to vote is fundamental. You can be in only one place at one time. You cannot vote in two places at the same time. So whether
Right.
you're voting in the Vidhan Sabha election or the Lok Sabha election, there is one vote you have, and therefore you only one place you can drop it, put it in. The issue of where you live, what is your permanent domicile, what is your temporary domicile, should not even arise. And yet it has arisen. I know from a large number of people, in this among the servants in Godfrey's, for example, where I live, that they were not able to vote this year, whereas their names were not on the list, they didn't get those slips, and that when they went to the voting booth, they found their name was not on the list either. Now, I know of one person from Mizoram who has been living in Delhi for 30 years and is a solid person with middle class, and she has not had a voting slip this time. She went to the booth and she found her name was not there. Now, my only point here is I'm not coming to a conclusion. I'm not accusing anyone. I'm saying this needs to be investigated further because this kind of shift
It
in
has
vote is only
investigated.
happening in.
No, but you said that this needs to be investigated. You're not leveling any charge against anyone. But if this needs to be investigated, how will this be investigated if there are no complaints? If Aam Aadmi Party doesn't register a complaint, if they don't raise an issue, or for that matter, even other parties don't raise this issue, and forget about BJP because they won with a brute majority, I'm sure they will never do that. So either it has to be Aam Aadmi Party or the Congress, which has lost it out. They have to lodge a complaint. But since they will not do it, then how does one investigate into it? And now suddenly people now since the time the Delhi election results have come, nobody's talking about a stolen mandate. People are just talking about one theme, and that is how Arvind Kejriwal has failed, how Arvind Kejriwal has lost the various segments of the society in terms of the voting pattern, whether it is the middle class, whether it's the Muslims, or whether it is so many voters, and you have slipped out of Arvind Kejriwal's hand. And that has become the talking point. Nobody's talking about the stolen mandate in Delhi.
This is being wise after the event and also wise with the purpose of justifying a result that's already taken place. Because the alternative, that even the most sacred thing that we have, the fundamental pillar, the base of all our democracy, might be now being regularly and systematically tampered with, is such a terrifying conclusion that nobody wants to come to it willingly. Nor do I. But the question is that this question has to be raised because we have already seen you have seen that in Maharashtra the total number of votes cast is more than the entire adult population of the state. Well, there can be no more clinching proof. But in the same way, I'm saying in Delhi, you have got a shifts in vote, from 53%, 54% to 24%, and then from 53% to 18%. No, the other way around, from 54 to 18, and 53 to 24, which also are almost impossible to explain, except on the basis that there has been a shift in the way that voters have been allowed to vote, that the requirements for being allowed to vote have been changed in some way, so that a large segment of the population has not been allowed to vote. Now, whether the Aam Aadmi Party will come out with this afterwards or not, whether that is something that I do not know. And frankly, since I'm not a member of the party, I'm in no position to tell. But what's also surprising to me, what is surprising is that this also needs to be compared with performance. Aam Aadmi Party got 53% in two successive elections. First of all, they came out and they erupted with 33% of the vote, when I personally thought they wouldn't get more than 3% in 2013. But they got 33%, and absolutely surprised me out of my mind. So I had to think the other way. What is it that they're doing or saying that nobody else is saying that has got them party coming out of nowhere, 1/3 of the vote? And the answer, quite obviously, was they have struck a very deep chord with the poor, because the poor are the mass of the voters. Now that has been confirmed in 2 successive elections after that in the Vidhan Sabha. But you see the exact opposite in the Lok Sabha, which makes absolutely no sense. Now, once the only explanation that can come is that the base for the basis on which people have been allowed to vote in the Lok Sabha has been different from the basis in the Vidhan Sabha. How and why, that is not for me to tell. I'm not a detective. I'm a single person. I note an anomaly. The anomaly should be examined by others, and it is certainly not going to be examined by this government, because they are the gainers from it.
Absolutely. So you suspect.
One
So, right. So in quintessence, if I may ask you, you are suspecting that the Delhi election mandate has been stolen. That's what you're suspecting, and this is a matter of investigation.
tampered with to the benefit of the BJP. Stolen is a very strong word. Stealing is picking up something and taking it away. Nothing has been taken away. The issue is this: huge numbers of people. I think from what they limited, I think it is important for the Aam Aadmi Party to go to its every constituency and talk to people and say, did you go to vote? Did you try to vote? Did you not? Did you succeed? Did you not succeed? And they will then come out with this. It is a hypothesis and no more. It's not an accusation, but it's a strong hypothesis because of the very huge discrepancies in vote that you've seen in the previous 2 elections. It's a 10-year anomaly. It's not an anomaly of 1 year alone. Now this year,
that
may I say one more thing? There's a semblance this year of a fair election, but you must also remember that this is at a time when the key members of the most important people in the Aam Aadmi Party, there's been a systematic 3-year attempt to destroy their reputations. They are on bail. They've not been able to work from their offices. Their officers are not listening to them because they don't have to. In fact, they're in extreme danger if they listen to something from them.
Right.
So
you feel very clearly that Aam Aadmi Party was not given a level playing field. Election Commission tried to tamper with the votes, and that precisely could be a significant reason for the loss of the Aam Aadmi Party.
The Election Commission may have changed, or rather, it's not just now. It may have happened over the Lok Sabha election, but the same thing may be now applied to the Vidhan Sabha. May have changed the way for deciding whether you are entitled to vote or not. I think this needs to be investigated. That is the important point. Before have you actually looked at the performance of the Aam Aadmi Party? Why have 200,000 students left private schools and gone into public schools? That's just one data. I can go through a whole range of data. Look at the slum colonies. All of them have been provided. 99% have been provided with piped water. This figure was I think it was less than 35 or 36% 10 years ago. This systematic way in which the Aam Aadmi Party has gone about serving the needs of the poor of this city, cannot have failed notice. But what I cannot understand is that all the pundits today, not one of them is seeing that there is no reason in the behavior of the Aam Aadmi Party as a government or as a party that explains this very sharp drop of 20% or more in their vote, in their share of the vote, not total numbers. I don't know how total numbers will eventually come out. And the point is, the share of the vote has gone up very, very,
No,
very
but do you
fast.
think Aam Aadmi Party will really gather the courage to now point fingers at the election commission, bring out the anomalies in the voter list, though they have done it earlier, but now they are reeling under a shock with the kind of majority which BJP has got. It seems that Arvind Kejriwal's priorities have changed. Now, today also he called up a meeting with the MLAs of Punjab, and now it's about how his party is going to exist, because Aam Aadmi Party, it seems, is facing an existential crisis. So, in those circumstances, how do you think that the Aam Aadmi Party will gather the courage to point fingers at the election commission and the anomalies which have appeared?
Look, I am not a member of the party. I'm a journalist first. I have no access to the inner circle decisions being made here. If they don't take up the questions that I'm asking now, they themselves will be the losers. They need to take them up. My suspicion is that they will do so only when they have done their investigations. They will not go off at half cock, as they say.
Right.
So, but let's not jump to conclusions. It's only 3 days since the election results have been
Right.
come out. They're a shock result. Give them time. They will do so in their own time. Maharashtra took almost 3 months, before a concrete set of data were presented by Rahul Gandhi, which are pretty much incontrovertible. I mean,
Yes.
Let's face it, they have damned the election commission. I do not believe in this election commission. Let me be absolutely point blank. Let me say this. I think that they are crooks. They've allowed themselves to be used by the BJP, and I'm sorry to say that I'm shocked by this. The Maharashtra fact, the simple fact that there are more votes have been cast than the entire adult population of the thing, and that village which decided to test its results and found that they, and to their own satisfaction, that the results had been gerrymandered. That's quite enough.
Right, but Mr. Jha, after seeing what has happened in Haryana, then Maharashtra, and now in Delhi, do you think the election commission has really crossed all the boundaries of coming out with anomalies, and they're becoming more and more innovative?
No, I'm sorry. I am not. I think to go from saying that there is something wrong in the Delhi election to saying that the election commission is not doing its duty anywhere and everywhere. Delhi, Maharashtra, granted, there may be more. But until I have concrete proof, or a sufficient proof to voice the suspicion, I will not go anywhere beyond that. What I'm saying about the election commission is based upon this single fact about Maharashtra, or let's say a single set of facts about Maharashtra that has taken 3 months to bring out. Now here, I do not know what conclusion Aam Aadmi Party will come to. But let me allow me to just finish the sentence. But the quality of government of the Aam Aadmi Party has been outstanding. There's been no decline in that. You look, I don't want to take up your time by quoting the data just now, but I have an article in The Wire which came out very, very, very recently. All the data of what the Aam Aadmi Party has been able to do in Delhi state is there. Everyone can look at it for themselves, And I think that it is for us, all of us, to do so. And I do not trust the instant pundits who have come up with various explanations. Which the interesting thing about all of them is all of them say Aam Aadmi Party did something wrong. How do you come to that conclusion? On what basis? What concrete basis? I'm raising the alternative hypothesis that something similar to what has happened what was done in Maharashtra has been done here. A government that can gerrymander the Maharashtra elections can very easily gerrymander the Delhi elections. The election. What we do know for a fact is that the carefully constructed independence of the election commission was destroyed by the Modi government. That the chief election commissioner should have been selected by the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. The Chief Justice of India has been replaced by a minister of choice of the ruling government, which means that it's a permanent 2-1 majority. So that the election commissioner now is chosen according to the wishes of the ruling party. Then there are two deputy election commissioners who will be chosen in exactly the same way. So the question is, yes, one has the right to fear that the election commission is no longer a reliable body. And this is being already challenged in the Supreme Court. So all I'm going to say is, I shall wait and see this, and I'll show the result of this. But I cannot rule out. I personally cannot find. Having gone around Delhi, having seen the way this city is functioning, I cannot find a reason for the sharp drop in the vote between 2020 and 2025 of the Aam Aadmi Party.
But in general, that is for the election commission and how it's going to be investigated. We'd have to wait and see whether Aam Aadmi Party takes up this issue at all or not, of a stolen mandate or the possibilities that the election has been stolen. But do you think that this Delhi election result comes as some sort of a turning point in the Indian politics? Because it does decide the course of the India alliance. It does decide the fate of a middle-class party like Aam Aadmi Party, because they came with a lot of hope and aspiration for the middle class. And today, if Arvind Kejriwal has lost this election, is it the death of the dream of the middle class as well?
No, it was never a party of the middle class. That's absolutely wrong. It was always a party of the poor. And they got the vote of the poor. The middle class dislikes the Aam Aadmi Party. Why? Because the middle class, in any case, always goes, whether it's fascist Germany or fascist India, it always goes with the ruling party. So don't ever get that wrong, please. I mean, there's a huge amount of history. There's the history of democracy all over the world will show you this. Middle class always votes according to what will help its pockets. So it votes for stability, and it votes for stability at no matter what other cost. It can't afford a non-stable economy. Remember that. Okay? So it's not that. It's always been a party of the poor. And the poor are 80-90% of Delhi. You and I are not among them. And every commentator today is a middle class person.
True.
No, and that does not mean that they are not being honest and giving their best impression. But you see, you start with a certain kind of willingness to believe or disbelieve, and then depending upon what class you belong to, there is a kind of pressure on you, or an instinct that takes in one direction, and that is what we're seeing in the immediate reaction.
True.
Let us wait and see. Let us see what the Aam Aadmi comes up with. I personally believe that they should have actually had in place a sort of understand, a kind of a storyline, if you like, for explaining what could have happened. I don't think they're even remotely expected to lose, and that is one reason why they're silent. They're not in surprise. They're shocked. They're in shock. But but the fact is that someone shouldn't be thinking about it there. But also there is another problem. They've all been in jail. They haven't been to each other.
Absolutely. So my last question to you, yes, Mr. Jha, my last question to you is that do you see this as the end of the road for the Aam Aadmi Party and Kejriwal, or you are hopeful that they will resurrect themselves, they will come up with newer and innovative methods now to deal with the poor and the middle class and so on and so forth?
They don't need newer and innovative methods to deal with the poor. What they're doing has been outstanding. The whole list is in front of me. It would take me 20 minutes to read, which you don't have. But please look at any. Well, there's 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs in this research book that's come out, the Delhi model, Delhi state model, I think. But in any case, all that is public knowledge. All you need to go on Google, go to AI or whatever, and ask them what all did the Aam Aadmi Party do the last 10 years. You will get the answer in about about a minute and a half. So there's really no problem with that anymore. The issue therefore is why have they've been discredited in the eyes of the public by relentless attacks on corruption where there's not a shred of proof. They've been put in jail. For the average public of India, which includes me when I was much younger and before pre-Modi, the fact that you've been put in jail was enough to say there must be something wrong. The government cannot put anyone in jail when there's at least there's something must be wrong. Something must be wrong. But I'm afraid the Modi government is not of that kind. It just put people in jail if they are inconvenient to its ambitions.
Right.
And the proof can come later.
Yeah, truth will come later, but we'll have to see how things unfold as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. But two very important points you've made, and one is that you suspect that this mandate could have been stolen. It needs to be investigated. Now, will Aam Aadmi Party come up with some complaints? Will they register these complaints and approach the Election Commission on this? Or they approach the courts? We'll have to wait and watch. Thank you so much, and always a pleasure having you on the program, Mr. Jha. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Neelu. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Stay ahead with our cutting-edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.